Okay. Oh, put my camera on now. Okay. And let's start. I'm muting people now as well. So, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Wacky World of Twitter stream. I'm Jeff, aka Godless Scummer. Got a few guests in today. Still waiting on Ring, who should be here in a bit. Now, so we've got so this week's subject will be Lauren Boebert, but I assume that's how her name's pronounced. The Republican Congresswoman with interesting Twitter history, I'd say, over the last. And I've only gone back about a week and a half ago, but I do know that this is the woman who now Ring pointed this out to me, is the woman who tweeted out Nancy Pelosi's location during the storm on the Capitol. So yeah, not particularly nice person. So, but let's first of all let's go around and let's introduce my panel. We've got Hopswatch. Hey, mate.
Hello.
Yeah, we have got Dog.
Hello there.
Okay, we have got Jenny Morgan.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yeah, and we got Jenny the Apostate.
Hi. Hello, everybody.
Oh yeah. And,
sorry, I'll be muted half the time because there's a lot of background noise here as we're getting ready for the morning.
Okay, well, I'm just put my thanks up here to my patrons. Two of them are here right now, Jenny and Dog. But thanks to my patrons, guys, other patrons, Ox, PJ Smith, and Gary Priestley as well. So take care of the housekeeping. That's my understanding of this woman. Any thoughts on Lauren Boebert from anyone before we dive into this?
Well, all I know is I know she's got a restaurant in Colorado, so she's probably got a hype from there. She left school early because she was pregnant, and she's a fucking massive idiot. That's all. That's about it with me.
Yeah,
bigotry is just beyond belief. It's world class as far as I'm concerned.
Having Lauren Boebert in the Congress, in the House, it would pretty much be the same as if during World War II we elected Joseph Goebbels. It's absolutely insane that she's in office there. It gives me real serious doubts about that portion of Colorado that elected her. Either they were asleep, or they truly are that bad. I know Colorado was labeled one of the hate states at one point because of a number of prejudicial laws against LGBT people and stuff existed. So it's very possible she just comes from a district that's that hateful.
Well, she seems to bought into an ideology which it just doesn't comport with normal life these days, and she's sticking to her guns, and there's no pun intended there.
Yeah. If anybody out in the chat is from Colorado, I'd love to hear what you guys think about her district and its general attitude and stuff.
So how gerrymandered is Colorado? Is the first thing I'm thinking, because the reason why Marjorie Taylor Greene was elected was, as apparently from what I've heard, heavy gerrymandering.
Well, don't even get started on gerrymandering. That's just something that just needs to go.
Well, I'll save it maybe as something for the. What I do know about this woman, she's a bit of like a QAnon. She's one of them as well, from what I do know about her. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, I suppose. So she's very, very pro-gun. And believe it or not, I'm going to save this maybe to the end, but there is a little bit of there is a bit of a conspiracy that sort of came out a week or two ago about well, I don't know if you could call it a conspiracy, but a weird news story about Lauren Boebert, to be honest. So and I'll save that, and I'll save that for the end. So and we have a ring as well.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey,
Ring.
Yep.
Hello, Ring.
How's Ring today? Actually, I think before we jump in as well, Ring, you got any thoughts on this woman? You were the one who suggested this as a Twitter stream.
I largely suggested it off her Limbaugh tweet.
Yes. We'll get to that.
Yeah. But most of what I know is, she's from Colorado and she's the one who, tweeted out Pelosi's location during the attack. So in my opinion, she's, if not a terrorist, then a terrorist facilitator.
Yeah, at that point.
Yeah.
She's absolutely guilty of treason if she did that.
Yeah, she should
Probably
get
be
14th.
executed.
How's she still in office?
Fuck knows.
Because
yes,
the Democrats don't have a super majority in the House, and the GOP is still trying to suck up to Trump, so he doesn't split off to make a third party.
Which he's going to do anyways. He's going to suck them along. They're going to be sucking his dick for the next 6 months, and then he's going to pop up with a new party.
You really think so?
Yeah, he knows he's going to jail. The Manhattan DA got all his tax records yesterday in their hands. And he's going down. He's absolutely going to go down.
Well, I tweeted this yesterday that Trump is an expert at dividing the countries and and he's done the same now with the GOP, hasn't he? He's basically divided them into the idiots and the people that don't really care.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I think we'll jump into her Twitter, and I've gone back as far as the February 14th. So let's have a little look now. I think we could start with something that isn't too controversial. Actually, it might even be very valid. So this is not how the stream will continue, I guarantee you. But we'll start with something that might seem people might even agree with here. Always remember, local elections are just not as important, if not more important, than federal elections. While they may not get the headlines, that's where a lot of change is truly made.
I'd agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's enough. Yeah, so it's a state election, or where we're now, because of the state ballot, that we're able to recreationally smoke weed now, or once they get the infrastructure in. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the UK's have been a little bit different, but it's still local elections are still, local council elections are still important. I mean, it is a little different in the UK because I think a lot of the power local authorities has been kind of, you aren't going to find local authorities that are going to go up against like government guidelines on what they got to cut and so on now.
in regards
is a problem in the UK. I don't know about the US how different it is.
In regards to the US, like aside from a short list of things, the states basically do whatever the fuck they want.
The Republican Party is all about local control until it actually begins to happen.
Yeah. They're all about a lot of things until it starts to affect them.
Fun fact, the Confederate statues things, hullabaloos and hubbubs. Well, the vast majority of those were local initiatives to get the statues taken down that the Republican state Senate didn't like. Yeah.
Interesting. So I guess it shows that local governments they have a little bit more say than what the states do, because let's remember that each town is individually run, regardless of who is in power of the state.
That's true and not true.
Yeah.
It's true from the perspective that I think you're taking it from with this statue thing, but many times local governments have been trying to do things like what happened in my hometown in Milwaukee. They were trying to set up a citywide internet ISP for the whole city, for all the citizens. You can get in and basically get free internet, or you would pay the city for it. But it was going to be a fiber optic, one of the 100 gig kind of systems. And it was all designed and ready to be approved. And the Republican legislator of the state said, passed a law that banned cities from doing that. So you can think you have control until the last minute, until they decide to make you illegal.
Or, here's another one. Our governor, Grappling Greg, decides no more mask mandates. No more mask mandates. The city where I live in is like, yeah, fuck you, we're keeping our mask mandates.
Okay. Right, shall we let's see what stupid we got here then. Okay. Biden wants gun manufacturers held liable for shootings. Watch out, Juanita. They're coming after you and your kitchen knives next.
Ooh.
Oh man!
because so many people in the United States are being killed with their kitchen knives, aren't they? Now this is actually interesting. Why don't we use a different country as an example, where we? Oh no! Now I disclosed which country I was thinking of. My own Denmark, where we don't have many guns. So will people run around killing each other with kitchen knives instead? Actually, no. So,
well,
this is stupid.
Yeah. So, also, given how it's the gun manufacturers that are keeping common sense gun laws from being passed, I'd say, if people were allowed to sue gun manufacturers, we'd probably see less pressure, more, for common sense gun laws.
One of the reasons that manufacturers are being chased now by liability courts and stuff is because they have the technology to make a gun fire only in the hand of the owner. And they do not put it in. So they're ignoring the technology and the safety that could exist for their profit, for their PR, and that has a certain amount of liability to it.
Well, yeah, because at least for a couple more months, they've got the NRA. They've just got the NRA in their pocket, until it gets shut down for keeping shoddy books.
Yeah, haven't the NRA done this thing before though, like the bankruptcy stunt, and then and then sort of come back.
No, New York is actually taking them to court.
Oh, I didn't know this. Now,
Yeah.
I knew they were trying to. Now, I knew they declared bankruptcy or something, but apparently they've done this several times before.
Well, no, New York is actually taking them to court for screwing with their, screwing around with their finances.
Mm.
And if New York wins, they'll lose their nonprofit status.
I'm going to say this is a big thing with this woman. She is a big, pro-gun, or they call themselves pro-Second Amendment or whatever.
Well,
but,
I mean, even in Colorado, the left has guns.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Colorado, even the left has guns, at least from what I hear. Colorado's kind of like Montana like that.
It's a gun state. That's very much then.
But I actually had the impression that Colorado, even though it's a rural state, actually a mountain state also, it was actually relatively liberal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But
they vote Democratic quite often at presidential elections, from what I've seen.
And the thing is, when it comes to America, the further out in the sticks you go, the more pro-gun people will be because they've got wild animals to think about.
I've actually gone back a day further actually for the next one because I thought this next one's going to be worth more stupid here. Okay. I'm infuriated. The Biden administration is now going to bring 25,000 asylum seekers with active court cases from Mexico into the US. We all know how this story ends. Biden's immigration policy needs to be stopped. Our country cannot handle this. She sounds like she get if she lived in the UK, she'd be a Daily Mail reader. I know it.
Yeah, definitely. Fear-mongering all the way around.
Assuming that number is correct, that they're probably the vast majority of them are cases in the U.S. and are immigration hearings.
Mm.
Yeah, well, she did say court cases from Mexico.
No, she didn't. She said the people are coming from Mexico and they have court cases. She didn't mention Mexican courts.
Okay, could we have the tweet up again? Because maybe she's being deliberately ambiguous there. Let me just see.
She's always being something deliberate.
This is not the tweet we had up just a second ago.
This is exactly the. Oh, hold on, isn't it? No, hold on. Let's look. No. Let me get. This is the one. Sorry, it's one beneath it.
No problem. Let me see.
Read it aloud. I can't see the
text. Okay. Yeah, okay. With active from Mexico. With active court cases. I see. Yeah, I read it as if the active court cases were from Mexico. But of course, I can see that they don't really need to be. So she doesn't know how to words neither.
Yeah.
By the way, a side note off the track. As of yesterday, I hope I get the numbers right here. The Biden administration has reunited 137 families of the children who were locked up.
That's good.
That's good. That's very good.
It's a drop in the ocean, as far as I can hear. But I mean, it's good.
Okay, well, I will read the one just above it then, because this is about obviously what happened with the impeachment. Democrats realize they don't have the 67 votes to convict Trump. Now they're just discussing legislation to prevent him from holding office again. They claim he was the worst president ever, yet they're absolutely terrified he would win if he ran again in 2024.
Yeah, he would win.
Because he was the worst.
As if those were. I mean, the one follows naturally from the other. As if they were mutually exclusive. As I said before, she doesn't know how to words.
Well, see,
that's a completely dumbass statement. It's just dumbass.
yeah. Well, see here, yeah, but here's what happened. Democrats, impeached Trump when, right after the Capitol insurrection. Mitch refused to recall the Senate and sat on his ass until after the inauguration. And then they used Donald Trump's no longer sitting president to get him off.
Yeah.
If they actually held the trial right after the impeachment, Trump probably would have been removed from office because the emotions would, because everyone would, because they wouldn't have had time to let things cool down and let their waffling stick, essentially.
Well, nothing has to happen in the Senate yet. There's still time for them to pull a couple of cards out of the deck and play them.
Well, no, the Senate held the trial and they failed to acquit.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They failed to convict. So
there's other mechanisms for them to do what they want to achieve.
Yeah. Also, any of the court cases that like New York and Georgia, bring against Trump could probably disqualify him because I think felons are disqualified from running for president.
I would have thought so. I mean, because I think, New York.
No, a felon is not disallowed for running for president.
Oh,
in fact, a couple of Democratic congressmen just this week, I think it was yesterday, even maybe the day before, whatever, have introduced a bill that makes them ineligible to run for office and to lose all their benefits and the Secret Service and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren Boebert herself has got a misdemeanor list, mainly driving offences, as long as you're armed. So, and she's managed to get herself in office, hasn't she?
Yeah, in some states, if you commit a felony, you lose your right to vote, but not your right to run for office, as I understand it.
Well, I mean, generally in the UK, if you could be an MP, or you could be an MP if you're convicted of a crime. But generally, if you are convicted of something whilst in office, it's kind of understood that you will stand down. The last one we had was actually the guy was my MP at one time. He was a liberal called Chris Huhne. And he effectively was done for perverting the course of justice because he committed a driving offence of some kind that was but got his wife to say that she was the one driving, and she took like the points on her license for him, which. Then I'd say once you've done something like this, here's a little future tip for someone. If you are going to be dumb enough if you're in a public position to do something like that, and then where your wife has done something for you there, like taking the hit for you on something, don't then go and have an affair behind her back. That's the only reason it came to light. And even though she was effectively got herself convicted for perverting the course of justice as well, it was hell have no fury like a woman scorned,
Yeah. Well, here's my thing.
So it was,
there's times where you commit, whether it be a misdemeanor or a felony, and you can't get a job. So how come, like you said, they can run for office, but you can't get like a, small-time job?
Because we have the best system, the greatest system. Felons can't vote. They're terrible people. Believe me.
I've heard that, if Trump were to apply to McDonald's, there would be no chance.
I mean, we've technically speaking, we have had someone who was in prison at the time elected to office. No, they didn't take the office. I don't know if Doug might, if you cast my back, you may remember Bobby Sands.
Oh yeah,
IRA man. He was technically elected to Parliament whilst he was in prison on a hunger strike. He was technically elected to the UK Parliament as an MP for Sinn Féin. Although he obviously, and Sinn Féin for a start have this sort of policy where they don't you never see them in the chambers because they won't swear the oath of loyalty to the crown. So it's a bit weird.
But Jeff, that was a sort of peacetime olive branch that was held out to Sinn Féin at the time.
Yeah.
But going back to Trump, Hopswatch should tell the best joke he heard today about Trump.
Oh, the one I read on Twitter.
Yes, go on.
Yes, I'll tell that one. I'll just find the tweet because this is not my joke. It's just something I happened to pick up and I found it extremely funny. Let me just see. Going through my notifications here. Let me see where we got it. There we go.
Or maybe not. I've folded up the thread.
I found it. Okay. So here's the joke. It's written by someone called Paperback Tripper, which is on Twitter at Len McHarristar. Len McHarristar. Anyway, this is the joke. During a briefing, Trump was told that 3 Brazilian soldiers were unfortunately killed in a joint US/South American military exercise. So 3 Brazilian soldiers were unfortunately killed, and he replied, "Oh, that's a terrible thing, a very terrible thing. So remind me, how many is a Brazilian?"
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear.
I can see that's something he would say, though.
Oh.
To be fair,
That's like I'm going to save that one for Sarcastic Barman's poker stream someday. So, okay, let's go back to the Twitter now. Now this is about impeachment. Now that the impeachment sham is over, will the Democrats continue their strategy of blaming President Trump for everything? Or will they get focused on real issues impacting Americans? Right,
Holy
Lauren.
shit!
Lauren.
Holy shit!
Before you do, I'm gonna quickly say something. Lauren, you do realise that Trump spent 4 years bitching about Obama. Okay, you do know this, right? And everything that was fucked up that he fucked up was Obama's fault.
Well, here's the thing. I actually kind of agree with that tweet.
You're fired.
No.
Ring out. Ring out.
Because, like, a lot of the more centrist, right-leaning, the corporate Democrats are essentially playing the "we're not Trump" game. But, and ignoring for the progressive pushes, for things like socialized health care and other, protections for your average working class American. So I actually kind of like, I know she's probably talking about like putting God in schools and shit, but I actually kind of agree with that, with that tweet.
Well, three Brazilian people disagree with you, Ring.
She's completely ignoring the fact that all the damage that Trump did directly affects the American people.
Yeah.
So by going after changing those things, they are taking care of the American people.
To be honest, I mean, it it is a standard political women trope of either side in any country, that they will get away with trying to blame the previous administration for their fuck ups as long as they can. That's a political fact of life. I mean, it kind of got it kind of got a bit weird here because now we've had 10 straight years of conservatives now. They're in a bit of a position. They can't blame the Labour government anymore for, you know, they could get away with that for 3 or 4 years, but tops. But you know, I mean, this is, I mean, how long though? I mean, really, how often was Trump blaming Obama for something that he had and yet he was taking credit for Obama's successes, like the you know, because like the whole thing about you know, America is going to jointly host the Soccer World Cup, isn't it, along with Canada? Well, that's something that happened way before Trump even came into office, and he was like there taking credit for that as well, and taking a bit the more obvious one is taking credit for the economic recovery, which had already kind of started under the previous administration anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and he blamed Obama for COVID a couple of times, didn't he?
Oh, come on.
yeah.
He also wanted recognition for COVID as well, that he cured it.
But
No.
you know, all I did, you know, yeah, it was all me because I got rid of the team that Obama set up to, you know, stop pandemics when they rear their ugly heads. But I stockpiled the bleach. I stockpiled the hydrochloric, what you call it. So yes, COVID is cured because of your wonderful God Emperor.
He also tried to claim the highest stock market ever. Well, of course the stock market's high. No one's selling anything. It's stockpiled up. The world was it wasn't trading at all at one point.
Yeah.
But that's Trump for you. I'm not saying he's an idiot. I'm not saying he's intelligent. He's not intelligent, but you know, intelligent people can be stupid as well.
And it's only like 15% of the American public actually has anything invested in the stock market.
Yeah, and that's the stock market for you, not only Trump, mind you.
Yeah, and you do have to sometimes distinguish between
my
stock market and the
headset
economy.
is broken.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, my headset is broken, so I have to get a new one. Just a sec.
Okay, no worries. Right, I'm gonna get on to the next tweet now. Okay. Bill Gates is promoting his new book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster. Want to know what the real disaster is? The Biden administration destroying our country's energy independence to keep the far left happy.
So, I've got a little thing to say. You know what state has an independent grid that's run on the free market?
Oh, I know.
Oh boy.
I'm British, and I think I know the answer to this. And I'm wondering how. Oh no, let's be fair. This was
Is it Rhode Island? Is it Rhode Island?
Nope.
It's got to be Vermont.
Oh, okay. This is February the 15th. This was tweeted, so I think this is before this happened. So this could be a case of this is a tweet that's not going to age too well.
Yeah. Texas, and we all know how that worked out.
Big
I'm
old
sure
Texas.
Yeah, she denied global warming, and plus she's heavily invested in the pipelines as well herself. She was a pipeliner, wasn't she? I believe.
You said she had a restaurant.
Yeah, but she also left school. I think she worked in McDonald's. She done a load of driving
Oh.
offences. And I know she, a restaurant poisoned 80 people because she didn't have the right permit or something.
I'll just do as just to keep it on the same subject. I'll quickly just do this tweet as well. Just a question for liberals out there: exactly how much are you willing to pay for a gallon of gas before you realise that America needs to be energy independent? Okay. Here's the problem with that is.
Wait a minute. You mean like in 2008 when it hit $4.50 a gallon when we were energy independent?
Here is the problem. If you, I in a way, look, in a certain way, being trying to be energy independent isn't a bad thing. Okay, it's not a bad thing. The problem with that is you are also going to have to get away from fossil fuels to be able to do that.
Yeah, because, Texas is energy independent and pretty much all of their stuff is oil and gas. And look at how well that worked out for them.
Well, like Jenny, Robert X has a question for you. Can I ask Jenny, what model Jaguar is she driving?
This is a BMW 318 Ti 1996 with 220,000 miles on it, and I paid $1,500 for it. What card do you want to play next?
I would just love.
It's the bottom of the line, and it's ancient.
Not really, but then
a
again,
rich person.
I could buy a car like that, no problem. Even a BMW, that's fantastic. And then again, it really isn't, because we don't need cars that much as far as I'm concerned. But I do envy you a little bit that you can actually get a decent car. BMWs are decent cars.
I bought BMWs because I spent my adult life running a BMW shop, and I can fix anything that breaks on this car.
Wonderful.
Or I can't afford someone else to fix it.
Right, so BMWs are very nice cars, I have to say. I mean,
yeah, they are. I've been driving them since 1977.
Wow, I was 2 years old in 1977.
I wasn't even born then.
Shut up, both of you.
But by the way, one thing is Hawaii actually energy independent? I mean, they probably get some of the things, whatever from outside, but are they connected to the federal power grid just like Texas is? Just a thought.
I would think they get heat pretty cheap.
Yeah, I think Hawaii probably has to have its own power grid.
Mm-hmm. just a thought. It's not to be obtuse or anything. Just you say that Texas is the only state with its own independent power grid, but how about Hawaii?
Okay, the only state on the continental U.S.
Okay,
there you go.
Gotcha.
I think even Alaska's it's on its own, right?
They can be connected with Canada. Actually, I wouldn't know if they were. But
That'd be ironic if they were.
Yeah,
would be, but those things. I mean,
and then let's not forget the U.S. territories out there.
Well, yeah, but they're not states; they're territories.
Right.
I wonder if Texas really wanted to secede, we might as well make any of those other territories like Puerto Rico a state.
Texas wants to secede every 6 to 8 months. Screw them, because then they come back whining for federal aid when their next hurricane or tragedy hits.
Yeah, I'm inclined to let them bring back the Republic of Texas and you make Puerto Rico a state instead.
Oh, fun. Well,
you don't even have to change the flag then either.
I'm more on the Puerto Rico should be able to decide whether or not it wants to be a state or be independent.
I think if we're going to add any more states, we should add at least 5. At least
wait.
to keep the flag design even.
No, the flag design of Puerto Rico and Texas are not the same. However,
no, he was referring to the American flag. He was referring to the American flag.
Yeah, I was actually referring to the American flag, but yeah, they're not quite. Yeah,
now, Puerto Rico and Cuba are frightfully close to each other.
Yeah,
I just noticed.
Well, Texas. See, I think Texas used to just have the old Bonnie Blue at one time, didn't it?
But,
the one, the blue with the white star. But
no, see,
Lone Star State.
the U.S. should aim for either 51 or 53 states, no more, no less.
Why?
Because since the number of states would be a prime number, we'd be one nation, indivisible.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wait. You can add Russia. You can add Russia as a state if you want.
okay, let's get back to silly Lauren here. She says it's important to get facts straight here. Now, what this is she's retweeting something from National Review. The Times has quietly updated its report published a month earlier on the Capitol Police officer Brian Sicknick's death. But the question remains, what really happened to him?
He got his skull crushed by psychopaths. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Not really much more to it. The National Review. What is that?
Let's see.
National Review is a magazine.
Okay, so the right-leaning, left-leaning.
I'm checking.
Media bias check.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Wonderful. Love that site. Why don't I have it bookmarked? I'm a doofus. Oh, I do. Only it's way too far down my list.
I'm just surprised by the lack of empathy in that tweet. There's just no caring at all from the woman. And how obviously she's been egged on to do this sort of job. She was probably holding court behind her while she was cooking her burgers up. And people said, you should run for Congress. And she's got it in her head, and obviously she's gone for it. And
Jeff, could you read the tweet?
She's had the support.
Sorry, which one? Which one?
Right.
The one where
let's see.
One at a time, guys. Sorry, Jenny's trying to ask me something.
The one we're on right now.
Okay, the one we just did a minute ago. Okay, so it was something from. She was retweeting something from the National Review, and she was saying that the Times quietly, and this is why she puts updated its report published a month earlier on Capitol Police officer Brian Sicknick's death, but the question remains, what really happened to him? So it sounds like a news story that she's trying to retweet there, but
so it's rated right biased, but mostly factual.
Okay.
You didn't catch my cue, did you? Leaning so my picture is screen right.
I've got my eyes on like three things at once, Jenny. You're right. That's why I don't always catch things. Okay. Okay. I think we're getting into energy stuff in Texas here. Rolling blackouts, some ND. Is that North Dakota? I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Okay. To Texas have turned into lengthy power outages in freezing condition. Biden needs to lift his oil and gas ban. We need reliable energy sources. The Green New Deal was just proven unsustainable. Renewable energies are really unreliable. And I love this. We got our very good friend, Mr. Chad Hall, underneath there. Just simply replies, "That is not how logic works."
When did the new Green New Deal pass?
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
missed that.
so here's the thing.
Oh.
Like 95 to 90, like don't put like a high 90%, high 90s percentage wise of Texas's energy is from oil and gas. The reason these Texas had those devastating blackouts was A, because their infrastructure wasn't winterized, and B, because the power companies, which were privatized, prioritized rich areas rather than poor areas.
As I understand it, when the nasty cold came and the gas started to shut down because of lack of insulation, people were demanding heat, and the demand for electricity skyrocketed, and they weren't able to switch their grid fast enough, and it ended up causing some failures that then cascaded into millions and millions of people losing their power, which is typically what happens on a grid when there's a failure. And it basically started out because they did not follow the recommendations of people that said you got to insulate this shit and weatherize it.
And also,
I've got to share her. I've got to go for the next tweet here. Okay.
The question I have, I really want to ask about the Texas thing is, haven't any of these people heard that you crack open your cold water faucet to let it drip or run very, very slowly, and that will prevent the pipes from freezing?
Yep.
How could an entire state not know that?
Because they never have winter down there.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
they put their pipes
something
in the ceiling.
Look, not everyone is like used to like your kind of weather conditions, Jenny.
I've been to San Antonio.
I'll tell you that. Now the UK would be fucked if we got like Minnesota winters. We would be fucked. I mean, okay, with the exception of maybe Scotland, I think the UK would be fucked if we got winters like what we get where you live.
Hell, even Yorkshire loses its shit if it gets half an inch.
Yeah.
Scotland would be fucked as well.
Scotland probably would be, and they do get some winters there. But
I mean,
here in Houston, Minnesota, when we got 8 inches a couple days ago, it was cleared within an hour and a half.
Yeah,
we're at about the height of Scotland. We don't get any winters at all, and we are. Theoretically, at least, we should be more of an inland climate than Scotland is. I mean, Scotland is out in the Atlantic, in the middle of the Gulf Stream, and we're close to, but still closer to a large landmass, and we don't get any proper winters. So that'd be as surprised as we would with something like that.
I'm just going to use this one because I don't know. Am I feeling that this is a bit of a self-own going on here? Make America warm again.
That's really stupid.
Congratulations. You just played yourself.
That's what we call a self-own, I believe.
Yeah.
And I like this one. Just couple of this. The science is settled. There's a response here. The science settled. Climate change is real, and we need to address the threat head on. I am Democrat Greg Smith, and I'm running against Lauren Boebert. Please follow this on Twitter and join our campaign.
You've got the beautiful Texas mountains there, though, haven't you?
Also, fun fact. During that Texas, that Texas freeze over, We up here in Montana, we actually had higher temperatures than Texas.
The thing is, as well,
like,
yeah,
we were like a few degrees over freezing.
Yeah, well, you just caught the warm front that was coming through.
Yeah,
you know, you normally would have been much colder than that. You know.
Yeah.
When you say freezing, what do you mean?
I mean, we were low 30s, low 40s Fahrenheit.
Okay. So when you say freezing, you mean freezing water? You mean freezing water, just like we were?
Yeah, I mean above 0 Celsius, because I know.
Good.
I know 0 Celsius is the same as 32 Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
guys, I need
weren't Texas close to? I may have gotten this wrong, but weren't Texas close to 0 Fahrenheit?
I'll be back in like 2 secs, so I need to get painted.
Say that again.
Weren't Texas in some areas close to 0 Fahrenheit, or did I just get that completely wrong?
I don't think it got that cold.
Are you saying that Texas actually just had a proper winter, like we had a couple of weeks here in February, where we had temperatures about -2, -3, maybe -4 Celsius?
Parts of Texas will always get some snow in winter, but it's never beastly cold for an extended period. It's just south.
Yeah.
But how bad was this? Was it really not worse than that?
I hear it was sub-freezing for like 6 days in a row, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean that's not even unusual about here.
Yeah,
I mean, I was in Russia in 1994 in February. That was cold. I tell you, that was cold.
You got to remember, Texas is a place where it's 110 degrees all summer.
Yeah,
they don't expect this kind of weather, which is weird because they've been getting this kind of weather for over a decade now. You think they would do things like realize that winterization is necessary.
And also, but winterizing costs money, which cuts into profits.
I wonder how many engine blocks.
I see that. I understand that issue.
Yeah, right.
I do understand that issue. But I mean, you don't really need to winterize that. Well, no, I guess I'm kind of privileged there. Wow. Yeah.
But
still in the chat, hi Slim.
But right before the cold snap dipped down into Texas, we had wind chills of -30 Fahrenheit.
That's insane.
No, that's winter.
Wow!
We
wow!
30 degrees. Great.
That's what we had in Russia then when I went there.
I'm sitting here in my car. The window's open, by the way. It's about 20 degrees. It's just winter. Don't be afraid. Just respect it.
Yeah.
Right.
And Texas didn't respect it.
Mm.
When has Texas ever respected anything?
I will say, however, I mean, you're in the middle of a continent, Jenny. If you get freezing temperatures in Denmark, let's say -10 degrees, and I'd say that would feel way colder than -10 degrees would feel in I'm talking Celsius now in Minnesota. Because
I would think so, because you're wrapped in the arms of the ocean. I would never expect to get that cold there.
Oh, we do occasionally. It will be years between, but sometimes we do, and it feels way much colder because the air is also very moist.
Europe and England especially are going to be in big trouble when the Gulf Stream stops running because of global.
Then finally, we will have proper winters again.
Yeah, we're currently at -6 Celsius.
In Texas?
No, where I am.
Oh, where you are? Okay.
Going to Montana soon. Gonna be a dental floss tycoon.
Well, you're in Little Canada anyway.
Yeah.
That's a Frank Zappa song.
I think the point is though that there's that the winters are getting more extreme all over the world, aren't they? And it's kind of worrying, and I can see the point of these green parties pointing it out to us, because a lot of us are ignorant to. You know, the kids see snow and they're out there building snowmans and whatnot, and they love it, of course, but it's short lived. But if you've I've lived through 50 odd winters, and I've noticed they are getting a lot more extreme and worse, and snow's getting worse, especially with the places where I've lived in England and around the world as well. That
what I'm noticing personally is how much it can vary, because we had what I would call a decent winter this year, with snow for about a month or so, from end January to end February. However, last year our winter was a very, very long autumn, followed by an early spring. And most of the time, by the way, the basement where I do my laundry was flooded. So we had about 8 degrees plus Celsius for all that time. The average temperature was that high, and there was just rain all the time. So extreme, yeah, not extreme, not necessarily extremely cold though.
We had that kind of winter here as well. But the year before that was 30, 40 below on numerous occasions.
Wow.
Yeah, same here in Chicago, where we've gotten the below 40 on wind chill, which is unbearable. Where you can throw a boiling pot of water and it'll freeze as you throw it.
Yep.
Wow.
It's frozen before it hits the ground.
Yeah, which is pretty cool to see.
Instant cloud.
Yeah.
If you ever want to do the trick, be very careful, because you have to use boiling water to make it happen. It's a certain dynamic with the molecule moving around at boiling temperatures that allow it to cool so rapidly and freeze.
Minus 40.
If tap water, it wouldn't do it.
Minus 40 Fahrenheit. Do you know how many degrees centigrade that is?
That would be minus 40.
Now.
That's minus 40 exactly.
All right. I mean, I think we're going to have a few tweets, winter-related tweets here. Let's see this one, because this is a big thing. You know how to listen to this one. You know how to unfreeze frozen windmills by sending up a helicopter that shoots out chemicals onto the blades. You need fuel for the helicopter. Keep that in mind when you think how green windmills are.
Well, here's the thing. If you winterize the windmills, they won't freeze.
Right.
Hey, hopscotch. How long have those lovely windmills of the Netherlands been pumping that water back into the Zuiderzee?
I wouldn't know. I only live in the bland Netherlands, not the real Netherlands.
Okay.
You see, Denmark is the bland Netherlands. Because, it's just as flat, but wheat is still banned around here.
Okay.
So we're the bland Netherlands. We're not the real Netherlands. But they started using windmills ages ago. That's why they have so many. But nowadays they actually use diesel engines. So they contribute to global to climate change while they are keeping their land dry.
One thing I really admire your country about is that they are still using many of the original windmills that are wooden geared.
No. That's the real Netherlands. That's the real Netherlands, not the bland Netherlands.
Oh, okay. All right. The real
it was the same here in the part of England I live in, Norfolk. That was hundreds of years ago. It was marshland, and they used these wooden windmills to pump the water back into the sea. And obviously, they don't. There are, a lot of them are homes now or relics, but they never froze up.
We did use them at one time, but that was basically for making flour out of grain. I mean, boring uses like that.
Yeah, I've traveled across the Midwest, and I've seen and it was during the winter times, and I've seen windmills turning still.
Oh, there are hundreds of them, hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, I'm from Wisconsin. I know more about Wisconsin than Minnesota. I think there's like 30% of the electricity generated in Wisconsin is wind power.
Well, they are unsightly, but unfortunately, they're going to have to be a necessity in the future. They're going to be everywhere.
They want to plant some in the middle of Lake Michigan, and people are, oh, don't do that, you'll ruin the view. Okay, they're going to be 45 miles away, and they'll be hidden by the curvature of the Earth, unless you're a flat earther.
I mean, the thing is, we got this. I mean, there's some mass offshore wind farms in the UK, or just off UK waters. Mm-hmm. I mean, but I find this hilarious. Certain people who can complain about the view or whatever, and then they don't give a shit about like a cooling tower. So, yeah.
Right. Well,
except if there's 5G in the calling tower, then you'll see them make a fuss about it.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's have because this is going to be a little running theme for a little while. Now she's retweeted Alex Epstein here and said the facts always present damning flaws in the radical left's agenda. There's a lot of conflicting information about the Texas blackouts. Here's the bottom line. The root cause of the Texas blackouts is a national and state policy that has prioritized the adoption of unreliable wind, solar energy over reliable energy.
Renewable energy.
Alex Epstein, anyway.
Yeah.
Renewable energy is less than 20% of Texas's consumption.
Yeah, it's like less than 5. It's like less than 10%. I think it's around 5%.
And anyway,
20% is being generous.
And anyway, who the hell chooses to keep the surname Epstein?
Yeah.
I mean, after Jeffrey,
I keep the name. Well, I kept the name Jeffrey, so why not?
I'm still Donald.
I mean, it's spelled
in a completely different way, and that's something completely different.
Yeah, that is true. Mine's spelled differently.
Yeah, you're Geffrey.
I'm the proper way of it spelling it. So
absolutely,
yes,
yeah.
But I'm still Donald. I haven't painted myself orange or anything, but I'm still Donald.
Yeah,
regardless.
Hashtag not all Donalds.
It's not the first name that counts. It's the last name that counts always. I mean, you can have people going around being named both Joseph and Adolf. I mean, without necessarily having an issue there.
I wouldn't bet that Adolf is on the real low end of the scale.
Megan asks a question here. I'm late. Did the panel talk about disconnecting from the national grid to avoid federal regulations?
Yep.
We've danced around it.
It was touched on.
Yeah.
Well, sorry,
anyway, I changed my name back to Shickle. Sorry, anytime if I have a surname like that. Sorry,
Texas,
Jenny.
Texas should hail as the de facto lesson for economics, for engineering, as to why regulation of corporations is essential. Because when you don't regulate them, they will do whatever they can for profit and nothing that they don't have to do for the people.
Oh,
pretty much.
Which reminds me of a very good saying. your safety regulations are written in blood.
Yeah.
It'll always boil down to corporate greed.
Yep.
Jenny, you were going to
Always.
so Jenny, I think you were going to say something, weren't you, a second ago?
Yeah, I was gonna get
Oh.
going, only because
Go
I got
on.
teaching to do.
Okay. Do you want to plug yourself quickly before you go?
Sure, yes. You can go ahead and check out my channel at Junie the Apostate, and you can also check me out on Twitter at JunieH. Please subscribe to Godless Scummer. We need to get him as much as we can.
And Megan Nuts has been quite kindly shilling for you. So
Oh, thanks to me. And then before I leave, a couple things I wanted to say. Yes, as an electric car driver, it's ironic that I don't want to pay any more gas. So going back to that one question, would I pay a cent more? No, I wouldn't. And even though it's not the best way to get out of this crisis, it's a step forward. And it'll be funny if from now on, if Texas decides to have electric cars on the roads, because they're now being used as a source of power for the battery storage unit. And then, what was the other thing I was going to say? Well, I forgot. But anyways, I'll continue listening on. But other than that, everybody enjoy their day and take care.
well, thanks for popping in, Jenny.
Bye-bye,
So,
Jenny.
No worries.
Bye, Jenny.
Always remember to drink responsibly.
yep. Okey-doke. I'd just say, Slim, I sent you the link if you wanted, because you were asking earlier. So now I have room. Okay. Look at that. They're all ready. Hey, Slim.
Hey,
Slim?
How you doing, man?
good. I'm actually excited to be here because I've been wanting to sputter out a bunch of stuff about this woman. So I haven't had time to do it on my own stuff. So I'm glad you're going over it because
Yeah. You can thank Ring for. I mean, I will say this woman was on my list, but Ring sent me something which we will get to in a bit, which maybe decide to move her up the priority list a little bit more. So
I have to ask Slim something.
yes,
Slim, what are you having? What are you drinking?
it's 9:30 a.m. for me, so it's an energy drink.
oh, it's the monster.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm still trying to wake up, but then I will be drinking some beer.
Well, as Skillet said, sometimes that you feel like a monster.
Yes, very true.
Indeed. Just give me a second. I've got a load of wires.
I usually feel like a
caught up
monster
here.
in the morning when I wake up or when I'm taking a dump.
I think for me it is when I'm in the dungeon being a dom.
Is it
Fortunately, most energy drinks will make me crash so hard that I'll have a seizure. So,
Understandable. As a teen, I used to put on a lot of events and we did a lot of upper drugs. So I've been clean for 15 years. So energy drinks and coffee are the things that get me to wake up in the morning.
I got a phone call.
Oh, no worries. Okay. Right. Let's have a little more look at some of the stupid of this woman. Since President Trump was acquitted of incitement and insurrection, I assume Twitter will ban posts that say otherwise, waiting for Karen to respond in 3, 2, 1.
Well, he wasn't necessarily acquitted, was he?
I'd hate to, actually,
Let go on technicality.
but actually, technically, he was only acquitted because they didn't have enough votes to convict.
Well, that's it. Technicality. That was it.
Yeah.
It's also important to note that the Senate has never voted to convict any president of their impeachment charges.
Oh, and fun fact, more Republican senators voted to convict than they did to actually have the hearing.
Well, that's a pattern that's been going around, isn't it? A lot of the Republicans are sort of realising what Donald Trump was like, and they're leaving the party, unless it's radically changed. But obviously, you still have your hardcore GOP Trumpsters like your Lauren Boebert and whatnot, who have drunk the hypnotic Trump water because it has electrolytes in it. That they are just following willy-nilly, regardless of what a tool he is.
Yeah, but Mitch decided that, siding with Trump was better for the Republican Party, so...
And that's really what it is they wanted to not have a bad mark on the Republican Party. Not that it was Trump, just, oh gosh, the Republican Party can't have double impeachment, or we can't have, the insurrection be the Republicans' fault. So they tried their hardest to not have it go further.
Yeah.
Because if they would have had anybody give a testimony, he would have been impeached. Anybody giving a testimony would have, when they just had the testimony trying to figure out how they should make it safer.
Hold on, guys. Who's got the background noise going on?
He was
hold on, guys.
Twice.
Who's got the background noise going on?
Sorry, I got to run my heater a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But, he was impeached twice. He just wasn't ever convicted.
Exactly.
Okay. This is an interesting claim. We've been told that there are 11 million illegal aliens in our country for over a decade. Can we get an update on that number? 11 million. Come on, that is like even the Daily Mail in Britain wouldn't try that shit.
Well, I mean, I wonder. Actually, you know what? That might be somewhat of an okay number. Because maybe there are 11 million white people in the U.S. I'm sorry. I had to make the colonialism joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have thought that was quite small number.
Yeah, but the thing they forget is there's a bunch of jobs that normal Americans won't do and can't do because they're getting paid under the table to do. So that somebody has to do a bunch of jobs that other people don't want to do, and unfortunately, the system makes it so there's a bunch of illegal jobs, and that's part of the system. It's not anybody. Well, it's the government's fault.
And also, when someone like Lauren Boebert says illegal immigrants or illegal aliens, the image that immediately picks up is skeevy people, following coyotes across the border. That's not the case. That's not the case in most situations. Most situations, it's, Poshy George just overstaying his visa because he, stepped out for a packet of crisps and tea.
And I lived next to the Mexican border most of my life. A lot of people go back and forth. So just because they're illegal, they're here working or doing something doesn't mean that they're not going back. They're not always permanent here. So they forget that as well, that they're living like a double life almost, or they're not using our resources by working over here. They're still counted as being over here, even though they're not always. There's a lot of Americans that go back and forth too, to go work or to go do things that stay past their visa that, you would consider them, if you were in Mexico, an illegal alien, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it matters on how you're counting the people as well.
Okay. Next, we got one here. Now,
Well,
this is her.
I had to be quiet for the heater. Now I want to say something, if I
Go
may.
on. Yep.
Okay, if there are 11 million people, what's the population of the United States? 350 million?
Yep.
10% of that is what, 35 million? And 1% of that is 3.5 million. So we're really talking about 0.3% of the population is illegal. 0.3, or no, excuse me, not 0.3, 3% of the population is illegal. 3%. We're worried about 3%.
Yeah, that's silly.
And like I said, of course, the vast majority of that is just, people coming in and overstaying, legally and overstaying their visas.
Yeah. And most of them are got off of a jet plane. That's right.
Or
Okay.
drove their car across the border, like technically legally, I mean, just because they don't have the right visa to come here doesn't mean that they're not being counted that way,
Well,
So everybody, like you were saying, everybody thinks that they're coming through the desert, or that it is this very, very illegal process where it's not always that way.
yeah, but most of the time it's people getting a visa, and then just when the visa expires, they just stay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have more stupid. Okay. Now, this one is her grifting for like campaign money. But hey, Joe Biden, I was sent to Congress to make sure people like you don't take away our Second Amendment rights. Newsflash, you're not getting our guns. Donate $20 to my campaign to send a message to these liberal lunatics. You're not from my cold dead hands.
So here's the thing: you can take your $20, and you can instead donate them to Greg, who is apparently running against her.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
The Second Amendment claim by the right wingers has become the most precious, cute little political, I don't know, little political dance that they have now. Yeah. How long have they? No, let's put it this way. My entire voting life, which started in 1972, the Republicans have used the Second Amendment argument.
Yeah, it's basically
show me the Democratic administration that has tried to take away the guns.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Bullshit.
Ever since the NRA revolt in the the hostile takeover of the NRA in like the 80s, they've been pushing that the Dems are going to take your guns because that spikes gun sales.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Every time when Obama got elected, gun sales and especially ammunition sales went through the roof.
Yeah,
I remember bringing up this little bit of trivia on I think it was the Gen stream a couple of weeks ago. Like, does anybody know? The NRA actually once lobbied in California to get open carry revoked.
Yep. Anybody
know why?
It's because the Black Panthers were carrying.
Yes, because we don't mind open carry if your skin colors are the one we like and you're not making trouble for us. Yeah.
So just like the drug policies.
Pretty much, yes.
If you look like me, you can do drugs, but if you don't, well, we made them illegal. So
I will. Okay, now here we get into the point where I think some people are really going to get a little triggered, maybe. We're getting a gushing tribute here.
Oh, goodness.
Rush Limbaugh changed the hearts and minds of so many Americans with his commentary and insights. His voice will be so deeply missed, but his impact will live on forever. I'm so glad President Trump was able to honor him with the Medal of Freedom while he was still here.
Let me say that the first bit. So the tweet falls in three distinctive parts, and the first part, I actually kind of agree. What did she say? That he changed people's hearts. Yes, he changed people's hearts to be way more hateful, racist, and just absolutely obnoxious to an extent that we cannot even fathom.
And actually,
sorry.
And actually, a little bit of the second part also is, true. He did change America forever by basically pushing setting up the conditions for the political discourse that got Trump elected. Rush Limbaugh basically was the pioneer of our era of political discourse. Take that how you will.
You're right, and there were some people who said after the insurrection that Trump wasn't the cause; he was just a symptom. And you could actually, I could actually, to an extent, agree to that. Rush Limbaugh, however, was definitely one of the causes.
He was definitely a huge part of setting the way that discourse happens in the US. I think we could come back on this because there's something else she tweets about Rush Limbaugh later, which is which actually was what put Lauren at the top of my.
I'll get my responses ready.
Yeah. Okay, but we got one.
I would like to disagree with her statement just a little bit. She certainly did bring out or change the discourse, but she only brought out what has been there for a long, long time. The hatred of gays, of blacks, or people of color, let's simplify it, has been in America all my life. I've never heard it any different. He just gave people permission to spew it out in the public.
Mm.
And that's damaging enough.
Okay, right. We've got on this one now. Okay, less than 9% of funding in the COVID stimulus bill actually goes towards public health spending. Dems have stayed true to the motto, never let a good crisis go to waste. Why don't we address the problems at hand and let them debate their destructive liberal agenda on its merits? It's like, seriously? Seriously, after the way the Republicans fucking have handled COVID?
Yeah.
Well, how about Medicare for all then?
Or how about, or you mean like how the Republican Senate is like, okay, we'll sign off on the on your crumb on your more than crumbs check if you add these special provisions that Trump if you add the like the social media government control stuff that Trump wants as a writer.
Plus, she brandishes the word liberal a lot, and Joe Biden, I would be more conservative. Well, he acts more conservative than he is liberal.
Biden's a centrist at best.
Yeah. Well, I'd say he crosses onto the conservative line, over the conservative line, and liberal.
Yeah. In regards to America,
he'd be a Tory.
Yeah, exactly. In regards to America, Biden's probably a centrist. In regards to the rest of the world, yeah, he's like moderate right.
Yeah, he'd be, if he was in the UK, he'd probably be a Tory, maybe a Liberal Democrat. because they're pretty much centre right in the UK. So
Yeah.
In today's culture, Richard Nixon would be considered a moderate.
yeah,
And he was scary as hell back in his day. Oh God.
But you gotta have your us versus them mentality and the cult of personality.
Yeah.
The one thing overall in this woman's discourse is that she is easily 20, 25 years behind the ball when it comes to her generalized A, complaints, B, rationale behind them, 3, description of the guilty parties. She's all absolutely old school and ancient in her
So typical right winger then.
Oh no, she's actually further behind than most of them, I think.
Mm.
So typical fundamentalist then.
They're both incredibly retarded.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, look, she's a fucking QAnon as well, isn't she? So
yeah.
She's part of that. She's into that.
Yeah. Yeah, she believes in all that.
Did you hear what Tucker Carlson had to say the other day on? Apparently, Tucker Carlson took upon himself to find QAnon.
Yes.
And found no signs of QAnon anywhere on the internet, so therefore it doesn't exist.
Jeff, add Tucker Carlson to your list of internet Twitter fuckwits.
I have not looked at his Twitter actually. I've got to be honest. See, some of them, what they do is that the trouble with some of them is that they post clips of themselves saying something stupid. Because like George Galloway maybe it's on my radar for a possible future stream, but a lot of the time it's him tweeting stuff that he said on Russia, like clips of his Russia Today stuff where he's saying something stupid.
Well, you should follow Keith Olbermann, by the way.
Oh.
Because he has some brilliant commentary on all these fuckwits. He's got a series called Keith Olbermann versus. Originally, it was Keith Olbermann versus Trump, and when he stopped being the president, he changed it to Keith Olbermann versus whomever he was criticizing, and I really like his small bits, 2-minute videos where he just in very, very clear language explains what's wrong with the people that he's opposing this time.
Okay, so now here we go.
Okay.
Today we're going to be discussing HR 1 for the Swamp Act, as she calls it, to expose this bill for the heinous piece of legislation it is. Once everyone understands the fact, they will understand why this bill would completely destroy elections and campaign finance in the USA. Stay tuned.
What is HR 1 anyway?
I'm looking at the For the People Act. So the first section of the For the People Act is entitled the Voter Empowerment Act of 2021. The policy being, short, like the summarized policy being, all eligible citizens of the United States should access and exercise their constitutional right to vote in a free, fair, and timely manner, and the integrity, security, and accountability of voting process must be vigilantly protected, maintained, and enhanced in order to protect and preserve the electoral and participatory democracy of the United States.
So basically, it says nothing.
Oh, okay. So it'll let people. So it's making it that states have to let people register online if they want to. So the first part is basically making it easier to register to vote.
I never go ahead.
That, in the Republican perspective, is of course very, very bad.
Ooh, oh yeah, and part two is in part two of the Voter Registration Act, which is the first major part of the, For the People Act. The Automatic Voter Registration Act of 2021. Congress finds that the right to vote is a fundamental right of citizens of the United States. It is the responsibility of the state of the federal governments to ensure that every eligible citizen is registered to vote. Existing voter registration systems can be inaccurate, costly, inaccessible, and confusing, with damaging effects on voter participation in elections for federal office, and disproportionate impacts on young people, persons with disabilities, and racial and ethnic minorities. And voter registration systems must be updated with 21st century technologies and procedures to maintain their security. You know what? I think maybe we should put a pin in this for a soon but later date, and just because you could probably have an entire stream just addressing that tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm skipping for a few of them because I'm kind of conscious on time. So
yeah,
you
could probably save the For the Swamp stuff for its own stream.
Yeah. Jenny?
All the crap that we've seen out of the Republican Party in the last several elections, fucking with the voter rolls, cutting the number of polling places down, all the trouble that they caused, is all because the Voting Rights Act was not passed or reinstated as it hit its sunset clause. All they need to do to start with is to reinstate the Voting Rights Act. That gives the courts the power to look at these states that pass these kind of laws and say, fuck you, this is discriminatory, you know it, we know it, you can't do that. Okay? And then they can do something like HR 1 with electronic voting and registration and stuff like that. Okay. But the Voting Rights Act must be reinstated. That's where the basis of all this bullshit is happening.
Well, yeah, and actually Georgia's trying to tighten up their voter suppression.
Okay, let's have a look at this one. Biden is allegedly already planning another $3 trillion COVID-19 stimulus package that includes carbon tax hikes and green energy galore. So basically, we're just calling anything COVID relief to try and guilt Republicans into passing a radical socialist agenda.
Oh, goodness.
Once again, I point you at the shit that they tried to sneak into the $1,400 check that we're still waiting for.
Same old tune. Just blame it on social. No, come up with something new, for fuck's sake.
Unfortunately, McCarthy just won't die. We've tried over and over and over again.
Okay. So she said something about Andrew Cuomo here. Things are so bad for Andrew Cuomo that even AOC is calling for a full investigation into his nursing home conduct. I somehow doubt he's preparing another book about his COVID handling.
Who is Andrew Cuomo again?
I've heard the name.
Governor of New York?
Yeah, the governor of New York, who supposedly flubbed the numbers of COVID deaths in nursing homes.
Ah.
His brother is a news anchor on CNN.
I mean,
confuses me, so it might have confused you as well.
Oh, hello, hi, Amanda. You should have been here. Oh, I wish you should have been here early, Amanda. We're talking some of the ridiculous shit this woman said about climate. We were talking about some of the ridiculous shit she said about climate change in Texas. But anyway, just this one could be the main event now. This is the one that Ring brought my attention to, and. I'm calling on Joe Biden to order flags to be flown at half-mast in honor of Rush Limbaugh.
That makes me absolutely. That actually makes me queasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, flying at half-mast in the UK might just mean that your flies are undone. Okay, your zipper's sort of half done. You're flying at half mast. So, I mean, here's the thing. Even if you take aside the fact that Rush Limbaugh was a complete piece of shit for 1 second, okay? Why would you fly half master, a political commentator, whatever their leanings?
You wouldn't.
What? Yeah. What? I mean, it'd be like I don't know, it'd be like the left in Britain. If something like touch wood, it won't. But if something happened to Owen Jones, for example, it'd be like the left in Britain say, "Can we have a state funeral and flags at half mast for Owen Jones?" It's like, no. I mean, of course, we didn't even do that for we didn't call on that for Paul Foote, who was like one of the best journalists the UK ever had.
Okay, so I think there's an easier way to put this. It's like saying that you do that for the crocodile hunter when he got killed.
Yeah.
Well, at least he was a nice guy.
Yeah, but it's a TV star, even though everybody knew him, and you wouldn't do it for even like. It's the same thing,
And you wouldn't do it for that old news anchor who recently died of COVID, and his name always escapes me.
Piers Morgan?
No. The big
glasses, braces.
American guy who was around for like decades.
Larry King.
Larry King. Larry King. They didn't do it for him. Why would they do it for Rush Limbaugh?
Well, Rush Limbaugh was a massive influence on Republicans, and
flying the flag at staff is an honor that has been reserved for government people, not celebrities.
Yeah,
it's just inappropriate.
Well,
that tweet is just a form of incitement, really, isn't it? It just gets the hackles up.
I mean, I think it's. I think it's been flown at half mast for Medal of Honor winners.
Yeah.
Well, that's
he got or like if there's like a tragedy, like I don't know. It might have been flown at half mast on the 7th.
Well, I think it might have been done also with something like Sandy Hook or something like that. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, flags. Yeah, I think flags were flown at half mast after Sandy Hook, and I'm pretty sure they were flown at half mast after 9/11.
I'm going to say so. I'm going to say I've said this a few times. Okay, when it comes to Rush Limbaugh's death, should we gloat over the situation? And the answer is no. But to quote Rush Limbaugh himself, no means yes if you know how to spot it.
Yeah.
I would.
I should have. I should have known that quote. I just minutes before I went on the stream, I published my latest blog post, my latest beer review, and I started with a diatribe about what an incredible piece of shit Rush Limbaugh was, and that there are indeed exceptions to the rule that you don't speak evil about the dead.
Mm.
Well, in regards to speaking ill of Rush Limbaugh, I will borrow something from Ocean Keltoy. People die, but their legacy lives on, and while it, for the most part, we're not talking ill of Rush Limbaugh as a person.
I am.
We're talking ill of the legacy he left, which is living on, unlike the lich that it is.
There's got to be Republicans who have framed photos of him in their house. So he was a major.
I'll just say, without going into detail, it's quite vulgar, but if anyone here wants to hear Bill Hector's little 2 minutes on Rush Limbaugh from back in the day, it's interesting.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I don't think he kind of had the idea that he thinks that Rush Limbaugh was probably one of those guys who sits in a bathtub and gets off on the idea of like Ronald Reagan and George Bush and pissing on him.
So that's right. Yeah.
As I said, by the way, a friend of mine on Facebook was comparing Rush Limbaugh to Satan, and then I had to step in and say, why all the hate against Satan? I mean, what did he ever do to you? And if the Christians are right, by the way, now Satan has to spend eternity in hell along with Rush Limbaugh. How would Satan ever have deserved that?
Yeah, I've got a friend who's a stand-up comic called Joe, and he had some Americans in the crowd one day, and he cracked a joke about a British comedian called Jim Davidson, and when he realised he had some Americans in the crowd, he was having to explain certain things, like, well, in America, obviously, you call crisps chips, you call chips fries, and you call but basically said Jim Davidson is kind of like a British version of Satan. And I still think that's mean on Satan. Okay.
I want my moment or two. Should we respect or not speak ill of Rush Limbaugh? Absolutely, we should speak ill of Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh made his entire career out of hurting people as much as he could in public. He made money off of that. He stole the souls of people for his own betterment and enrichment. There is nothing more dishonorable than that. And we should reward him with all the dishonor that we can possibly muster.
Okay.
I will not gloat, but you will not see me mourn.
Okay, now I am going to do one more tweet from this woman, and then as a closer, I'm going to do remember I said at the beginning that there was a weird kind of, you could say somewhat conspiracy if you wish, about Lauren, which I'm going to read for you guys, and see if you heard this. But let's have a little look. Final tweet of the day. What's happened here? Oh, sorry, my screen's all gone a bit messed. Okay.
She produced a fun tweet.
Okay. Nancy Pelosi has tapped a man who has called Josh Hawley a piece of shit and has said that I should be placed onto a no-fly list to lead Capitol Security Review. How is someone who is so utterly partisan to go into conduct in an impartial investigation. You should have kept the fuck off of Twitter.
Yeah, Lori, when you leak, information in the midst of a terrorist attack, you are aiding and abetting the terrorists, honey. That's how it works.
And also, but at the same time, you're being partisan.
And then didn't she have a whine the day after the insurrection about not being allowed through the new security with a gun?
Yeah.
That might have been Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No, I'm sure. Well,
I saw the video.
I get mixed up between the two of them. They're both fucking idiots.
Yeah, they are. Isn't
Yeah,
it
the
incredible
Trump
that they both
twins.
got
Who can blame you?
The Trumpet twins.
Not identical twins, but twins for sure.
Okay. Any more to say on that last tweet, or should we get into the strange thing, that's little story that came out about 12th of February? This has been posted, and it's on a site called bodyslam.net. It's a professional wrestling website, professional wrestling blog. Now, new conspiracy pops up alleging NWA legend Stan Lane is illegitimate father of current US Congresswoman. Any of you heard this?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
Is that a legitimate news source?
Probably not. But I'll say there were allegations that were going around the internet, and to be fair, this seems to just be covering the allegations rather than making them as such. Okay. I'll read this out. Politics and professional wrestling have made strange bedfellows throughout the year, whether it's Jesse Ventura as governor of Minnesota, Japanese stars Great Sasuke, Antonio Inoki, Hiroshi Atsushi Onita being elected to office in Japan, or even Glenn Jacobs, aka Kane, as mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. Nothing has become a strange case of Colorado Congressman Lauren Boebert. The 3rd congressional district. Oh, who's messing about there, Mike? There.
I think Dog is.
Yeah, dude, that's really okay. That's better. The 3rd congressional district of Colorado Congresswoman has been in the news for her controversial views, having supported the far-right conspiracy QAnon, and has made waves when attempted to bypass a metal detector in the hours following the January the 6th riot, and attempting to bring a gun onto the floor of House of Representatives. Now it seems she may have a small crossover into the world of professional wrestling, as for years her mother has alleged that former National Wrestling Alliance star and one half of the legendary Midnight Express tag team is her estranged father.
Wow.
Okay.
If that was real, that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think. Okay. Hold on. Okay. A user on Twitter unearthed comments from a YouTube video from several years ago highlighting Stan Lane's former Fabulous One tag team partner Steve Kern. A user named Sean Benson made several comments on the video, stating that Lane is the father of a child named Lauren. Later, a screenshot from a Facebook comment in the Wrestle Reunion Facebook group, named Sean Bentz, asked if Lane will be at the gathering where Pence once says he can meet Boebert, who he has refused to acknowledge. Wow. So Spence then alleges that the maternal first cousin of Lane, who took DNA test in 2013, is allegedly matches Lane to Boebert via autosomal DNA. According to Ancestry.com, autosomal DNA traces the autosomal chromosomes that will have segments of DNA a person would share with someone they're related to, paternally, along with directly and indirectly. So, archive tweets from an account alleged to be Boebert's mother says that Stan Lane of the results paid money to deny paternal ties to her child, referring to it as fraud.
Well, there's DNA involved. That's a strong case.
Yeah. Okay.
Boebert, does it matter really?
Yeah, it's just but an interesting. It doesn't really, but
okay.
It doesn't massively. But it's a. Boebert was born Lauren Roberts in Springs, Florida, in 1986, and Lane was a heavy presence in Florida with the Fabulous Ones tag team in the 80s. This did a lot to digest, certainly, especially when you take into account there was a fake Stan Lane that lie there for several years.
Wait a minute. Boebert was born in 1986?
Yeah, she's only 34.
I have panties older than that.
Wow.
Yeah. But more importantly, there was actually a fake, somewhat a fraud Stan Lane pretending to be the wrestler Stan Lane for several years. In 2011, it was revealed that a man spent living years a lie that he had worked in the industry as Stan Lane, to the point that his local newspaper ran an obituary claiming that his family sold fake merchandise to fans at his funeral. Needless to say, it's entirely possible this fake Stan Lane pops into the story at some capacity, but there's a whole nother conspiracy to unpack. The conspiracy even managed to make it onto this week's Jim Cornette Drive-Thru podcast, where Cornette tries to put together the timeline of events to debunk the allegations, but he can't seem to do so. There's lots to unpack here, but it's politics of pro wrestling. Some of this has to be fake, right? Okay. I think we said enough, really. I think we got into enough.
It's bastardized, though, isn't it?
Did everybody
is Lauren Boebert the illegitimate daughter of professional wrestling legend Stan Lane?
Yes.
Yeah,
we just saw the proof. Right?
She's a bastard.
Did anybody see the photo of her in front of all the guns that are stacked very oddly?
Oh, yeah.
I have it in case anybody wants to see.
Well, I saw things just saying that's not how you stack guns, or that's not how you keep guns. Locked and loaded with the mag in. And what would you use them guns for anyway?
And you'd know, even though you don't own guns yourself.
Godless, I'm sharing.
Use those for those AR-15s for missing your target in close range. That's what they're good for.
She's got a shotgun.
That's a good one for close quarters.
Yeah. So that's not
how making.
Yeah. So that's not how you stack your weapons. You do not. That's no. So, okay.
Does she have a Jehovah's Witness problem or something? Why would she have them guns?
I don't know.
Because
it doesn't make
Morica! Or something.
Well, I mean, they're military grade weapons.
To be fair, I don't know Congressional District 1, but there are definitely areas in Colorado that if you're out in your backyard, you probably should be armed because of the wildlife. We have that here in Minnesota.
Yeah, you don't, but that's what the shotgun is for, or maybe the Glock, but you don't need an AR or especially an extended clip. I
Well,
don't
yeah.
see very many bears, and I would. That's the only thing you would need something bigger than a shotgun or a handgun.
I mean, fun fact: every large mammal in America, well, in North America, has been killed with a .22.
Yes,
Yeah.
and tends to be a lucky shot.
Yeah.
But still, you don't, like I was getting at, you don't need a large round normally. If you have the right.
I'm not a bear hunter, but if I had my choice, I don't think I'd want to go out depending on a shotgun to handle a bear or a mountain lion. They may do the job, but I don't know. I would take the AR-15.
It matters on what shot you had in the gun, because there is certain shot that I would be comfortable enough. But you're right. You might not want a shotgun for a mountain lion pouncing at you. So, yeah, just the AR-15 is a little overkill for protecting yourself from animals.
Although they do a good number on coyotes.
I'll just stay home in rural Denmark.
I probably shouldn't know that, right? I just saw it. I didn't participate. I just saw it.
Most of the time, you can just shoot a shot in the air, and the animal, unless they're really, really, really starving, will bolt. But if they're starving, then you do got to fight them. But usually, if you just make a loud enough noise, they'll be like, "Oh, screw that! I'm not going to stick around," and they usually leave. I live in the Rocky Mountains, so I mean, I can look out my backyard. I can see the mountains pretty much.
You know what? I'm glad doesn't live around here. Wolverines.
Yeah,
they're a bunch further north, and I'm glad.
Yeah, no, I don't want to come across a Wolverine. Badgers are scary enough.
Okay. Well, we're getting up on 2 hours, so I'm probably going to bring this to a close.
Yeah.
Now, let's go around. Final thoughts on Lauren Boebert. I'll start with Jenny.
What? What?
Final thoughts on this person.
Oh. People like Lauren and Marjorie have no place in our government. That said, I'm proud to live in a country where they could end up being part of our government.
Also, don't be quiet.
Oh, Hops, you sounded really Dalek-y then.
Yeah, I was just being funny. I said, don't be quiet.
There's something up with your mic there.
Okay.
You're roboting.
You're roboting badly. Okay, Ring. Final thoughts on. Oh, I see what's going on here. Okay, that's why. Okay.
Yeah. My Chrome stopped responding, so I had to close it and jump back in.
Okay, cool. Final thoughts on Lauren.
So, while I would say Lauren's probably like an 8 on the crazy scale, I will say that who knows? She may change in the future, as evidenced by something I'm sharing right now.
Okay.
That was a Facebook post from me 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, that woman is sick.
Yeah. No, that was me 7 years ago.
Yeah. This is something Ring put out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that guy is sick.
So yeah, there is hope that she may change, because I know I did. But yeah, I ran across that in my Facebook message or Facebook memories, and I'm like, wow.
Hey, can I ask you a straightforward question?
Yeah.
Are you glad you've changed?
Yes.
You're muted, Hop.
No, I'm hearing some background from somewhere, but I don't know.
He sometimes gets on phone calls he's got to take.
Can you hear me all right?
I can barely hear you. I mean, it's like tiny. I don't think anyone on the stream can hear you, Hops.
Okay. Just a sec.
It's like really quiet.
How's it?
Yeah, that sounds better.
There you go.
Okay, good. I just want. Well, Lauren Boebert is in a privileged position, so and maybe it will not be advantageous for her to change. Just saying.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay. Slim, any final thoughts on?
She is scum of the earth because she promotes definitely the humanitarianist type stuff. She's definitely for the rich, and she's getting paid probably lots of money to say what she's saying. So I don't think she's going to change. And with people like her in government, it's going to make it a lot harder for us to actually have real freedoms because they're always going to be pushing that a 1,500-year-old book has rules in it that we need to abide by for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Dog, any final thoughts, mate?
She's a cunt. End of statement.
To the point, I'll say that much. Hops, anything you want to say to sum up?
Still recovering after that shit show. Those tweets, it's really, really bad, and I mean it's so there's kind of a saying going that what happens in the United States comes to Europe 10 years after. So yeah, I hope that is not true, because it's really bad. However, I mean, at least to some extent. On the other hand, she's kind of honest about being completely out there. And if nothing else, the silver lining would be at least everyone can see how absolutely batshit insane she is. Problem is, people feel inspired by it just as much as other people will see how bad it is. So I'm not really sure. I don't know which one of those two will win. Experience says it's unfortunately the ones that are inspired by it.
Yeah. I could really almost see the Republican Party, this is my thoughts, kind of trying to push her a bit right now. That you've got this quite young woman that's that is espousing all this stuff. It could be it could be like their anti-AOC,
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm sure they will push Lauren as like their anti-AOC is what I think she's going to possibly be pushed as. But she is tweeted some crazy shit out there. She should have been like all over the coals tweeting out the shit she did on the 6th of January, without a doubt. all I really got to say about her. So I guess I'm gonna have to find some. If I'm gonna do another one of these streams next week, I'm gonna have to find some public figure that's that's got a penchant for tweeting out fucking ridiculous shit for some point next week. So
Well, let's take on Marjorie.
we
We
did her.
already did.
No,
We've done Marjorie. We've
Yeah.
done Transform Wife. We've done Greg Locke, Kevin Sorbo, and last week we did the LGB Alliance. So
Well, what about checking
We'll find
Tucker Carlson? See if there is anything else than video
Okay.
clips.
we'll have a look. See, I've got a few ideas. Tucker Carlson is a possible. As Hobson. George Galloway is a possible. David Silverman is a possible future one at some point.
Oh wow, yeah.
if you're going to do Carlson, you got to get in on Sean Hannity too.
Oh yeah,
Ben Shapiro.
Shapiro. Well, we can't do
Oh,
we can't.
damn.
Unfortunately, we can't do Stefan Molyneux anymore because he lost his Twitter account. But
Suits him well.
and I know this. Also, I know this is more scraping the bottom of the barrel, but that account Escaping Atheism, the Red Pill Religion account,
Oh,
that is on my That is on my radar at some point. If I ever think Dean Esme's worth my fucking effort, to be honest, but he's on my radar, that guy. So okay, anything to plug going around? Jenny, I'll start with you.
I'll be on Purple, Midwest Midnight Chat tonight at midnight Central Time. There'll be movie night, of course, on Friday night, 10:30 Eastern Time. And whatever other gigs I can pick up, because I like just making a fool of myself on the air.
Yep.
Ring.
As always, on Saturday I've got Secular D&D, and Sunday Media Musings, where we will be discussing Deadpool 2,
A family movie.
Yes, and
a tragedy.
I'm 27 subscribers away from the Embarrassing Story stream. And if I hit 250 or during Pride, whichever comes first, I will be doing a gender Q&A. If I hit 250 before Pride, I'll also drop in a name reveal.
There you go. Any one of my viewers is not subscribed to Ring already. You need to be. Okay. Slim, anything you'd like to plug?
Every Wednesday we're doing Faded Workshop, where Sierra Gray and I talk about different subjects. Yesterday we spoke about stage life. So we talked about how we got into performing and what it's like to be a performer, and the history of circus, sideshow, and magic. So we went over the lifestyle. We're going to be more of like an information show where we just talk about experience with guests about different subjects, and not really debate or try to argue about anything, but just get out information and talk about real life situations.
I'm dying to see your act.
I have videos of my performances on my channel as well. So if you want to see me performing at the tattoo conventions and other fetish conventions and stuff, I have videos on my channel of that.
I will
you
do
have
that.
to.
I did not know you had that.
Yeah, you have to dig now. I've put out a bunch of content since, but yeah, there is videos of my performances.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
The sword swallowing freaks me out. Really does.
I think putting the knife inside my skull is the thing that's more freakier, but yeah, I understand sword swallowing looking freaky. To me, it's every day, so I forget how weird those things look.
See, now sword swallowing, I can understand the mechanics behind that. That's not terribly different than a big wang.
Yeah, no, it's just like being in gay porn. I mean, so
It's just sharper than most wings.
yeah, just a little bit.
And now I'm more freaked out about it.
Okay, Dog, you got anything you want to plug or?
No, but I'll just be doing my normal thing. I'll be in chat annoying people, getting things wrong, saying wrong things. That's me. You know me, full of shit.
Wouldn't have you any other way. Hops, got anything you want to plug coming up or anything in the works?
Nothing planned. Still unemployed and on a hiatus on my channel right now. However, I do feel a little bit inspired to pick up the a beer with series on my channel, which is basically just inviting people on my channel to have a chat about their favorite beers. Now I understand that Slim is a beer drinker, so I'd actually really like Slim on my channel at some point to just have a chat about your favorite beers.
I would love that. Please have me on. Let me know.
Cool. I'll see if I can set something up. I'll let you know.
Yeah,
there you go. There we go.
Cool.
Also, anything else? Hops, are you done or is anything? Or
No, nothing else.
okay, I will just plug
yes, of course. One thing. How could I be so stupid to forget? Always remember to drink responsibly.
Cool. Okay. I will just plug something for someone else who's not here right now, but Mama Atheist is just pointing out she's interviewing Dr. Lawrence Krauss Saturday on her channel.
Ooh.
That's a big deal. So
she has him on her channel.
Going. And I think you got an invite here, Slim. Slim, we'd love to have you at the Pigsty as well. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, that would be great. And that's Mom Rafie's obviously Math Pigs channel. But
yeah, definitely for sure. I'm not very much on Twitter. I have an account, but I'm not really on there. But if you message me on there, then we'll get something set up.
Cool. Okay. As for myself, this Sunday, I've got the Asterix stream on my channel. We're probably going to be starting a little bit earlier than normal, maybe just half an hour, like 12:30 as opposed to 1 p.m. Because we've got a slightly longer book than normal. But it's going to be a slightly different stream to anything we've done before because we've got a book of purely short stories. And it's going to be very different to any of the Asterix books we've done before. And I can't say too much right now, but I will say this. Noodle and I are realizing what we are getting towards the end of the Asterix books. We've got maybe 6 or 7, maybe tops left to go before we've done them all. I can't say exactly what, but we are planning to do a project together after that. But I can't give too much details away because we're still trying to work out what this is going to be. So that's all I can really say at the moment. But something is hopefully going to be coming late this year,
and it should be spectacular.
Yeah, Ring. I will say Ring has been in on the conversations that have taken place so far. So Rings have got a bit more privy than most. So
yeah.
Well, I'm hoping it's superheroes.
We're not saying. We can't say.
Yeah, all right.
We that's all anyone's getting at the moment. But there is an idea. There's certainly an idea for a project in the works right now. So,
hey, speaking of superheroes, did anybody see the premiere of Superman and Lois on the CW?
No.
Tuesday or Wednesday?
No, we didn't get that here. So
it was actually pretty darn good. If you follow DC at all, It was another origin story for this particular series, but it was good. They're married and they have 2 kids.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Right, I am going to bring this to an end then. So thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to everyone who's been watching. I want to say thanks to everyone, to Hops, to Dog, to Slim, Ren, Jenny, and Jenny the Apostate, who was here earlier. Thanks for partaking in this. I will probably do another one of these next week. I want to keep these Twitter things going as long as I can, but obviously it could be a case that within a month or so that I have to go back to work, so I might have to maybe move these to the evening in UK time if I keep these going at some point. Because once we're out of lockdown and all that stuff. So, okay. So thanks very much, everyone. So see you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.